was wondering when I'd get to see you. The infamous Bright Blade of Losoria. Tell me, are you excited to see me here? In your torture chamber? Do you enjoy having me bound and tied down on my knees before you? Nothing to say? You aren't going to brag? Not going to gloat? Still not talking, How rude. Am I not worthy of your voice? Ah, and so you speak. What a shock. Here I was beginning to think that I'd be tortured using the silent treatment. So your wit hasn't dulled any, I see. But no, I wouldn't have called that begging to hear you speak. Rather, I need you to communicate with me so we can hurry this process along, and I can be free of your presence once again. Yes, I'm well aware that I'm captured and not escaping anytime soon. But dealing with you is a brutal type of torture on its own, so I should like you to leave as soon as possible. What a shame. I hate for you to be around me for too long. It's a pain. Oh. What are you reaching for there? Did you bring me a gift? How sweet of you. Is that ale? I didn't think you were the type to drink on the job. What would your beloved sovereign think of such a brutish act? Mead then, if not ale. My question still stands. Well, if not some sort of alcohol, then what is it? A truth potion. I assume that you plan to make me drink that ridiculous... Look at that. I never would have thought that you would have learned to play dirty. But here we are. I'd almost be proud if the circumstances were different. I can't say I'm not flattered you'd think so highly of my strength that physical torture seems too weak. But given the situation, I think I'm not as flattered as I should be. Then I suppose I should ask, how long until this potion takes effect? I should think that the effects aren't immediate. Only a minute then. And with a compulsion charm? Hells, you must have a powerful mage behind it then. I hear these usually only begin to work after an hour. Ah, I see. Your mind is as sharp as ever, though I hate to admit it. Wipe that grin off your face. You have no reason to look so smug when you have known my admiration of your mind since even before we went our separate ways. Don't flatter yourself so much. Just because I admire your wit doesn't mean I have anything else to admire you for. Of course I don't. How can I possibly admire you as a whole when I despise you for more than I praise you? Gods, but I hate you. There are no words in any language from now until the end of time that could begin to express how much I hate. But I've said enough. No need for me to continue on about emotions. After all, that's not why you're here, I'm sure. But that brings about the question of what does bring you here, I'm sure you've come to interrogate me on something. So what is it? Well, if you're not sure it's working, why don't you ask me a few questions to see if I answer truthfully? Yes, I suppose I could answer truthfully on my own will to pretend that it's working. But if that's the case, you could ask me questions that I wouldn't want to answer truthfully. The better swordsmen between the two of us? Of course that would beat me. Fine. It's you. You're the better swordsman. Irrational fears. You, of all people, should know that I have no... Alright, yes. I have a fear of mirrors being able to watch me, but you already knew that. There's no need to bring it up again if you already know. So, you are asking me to tell you who the first person that I told you that I loved was. If that's the case, the first person who I ever told you that I loved was the blacksmith's apprentice. We were still young, and I think I'd only joined the Waywards a few months prior, and we had been passing through their village on our way to a bigger kingdom that had hired us. I remember thinking how beautiful they looked when the fire's glow illuminated them, and I spoke of them to you that night. That was the first person that I ever told you that I loved. Well, it's not as if I can lie. The potion works as much as I loathe to say so. Fine then. Let's get on with it so we can both be done with whatever business you have with me. No, I wasn't planning to make an attack on your kingdom. The only reason I was passing near the border of Losoria was because I was attempting to travel to the Crovan Empire. There's been a marriage, and I was going to offer my well wishes to them, though I also had plans to offer a trade negotiation that would ease the strain on our kingdoms as winter approaches. I offered the same deal to your sovereign, and I had decided to take a path closer to Losoria to see if they were going to meet me near the kingdom's edge as I suggested. I had planned to discuss the details of the agreement, but apparently your crowned ruler decided to have me captured instead. And let me just say, while your guards are plenty strong, having to listen to their chatter this entire time has been a form of torture on its own. Hells, what? What did I say that got you so worked up all of a sudden? Who have I spoken to? What do you mean? Who have I spoken to in general in the past month in my letters? Who I've spoken to in Losoria? I still don't understand. Do you want to know everyone I've spoken to from your kingdom ever? The guards. As in, the ones making sure I can't escape from this wretched room? The ones that taunt me for being stupid enough to get caught? Why would I speak to the guards about our past? Oh, hells. You're worried I told them. You're scared I told all the people of Losoria about how their beloved ruler and executioner, the infamous twice-dead crown and Bright Blade of Losoria, used to be mercenaries. Worse yet, how they used to be waywards who were aligned with the leader of an enemy kingdom. None of them know, do they? No other soul in this kingdom has even the slightest idea that you, your beloved sovereign, and I were once wandering blades together, bound to each other by blood and oath. None of them know besides that same arrogant sovereign. These people just assume that you are wandering heroes, maybe even part of their own army who overthrew their former tyrant and nobly rose up to fill their place. If your past is no source of shame, then why are you so worried about your people finding out? What? Nothing to say? Has the cat got your tongue? Or is it that you know that I'm right? Oh, I know that you're loyal to Losoria over the oath she made to the Waywards and myself, but your people don't know that, do they? They don't know that you broke all those oaths for this kingdom and the twice-dead crown. Else they probably don't even know about the Wayward's disbanding. If anything, I bet that if they found out who you both were, they'd think you were planning to take down the kingdom from the inside. Imagine that. As a Wayward, you protected Losoria's people from the corrupt crown. But now, as the right hand of the ruler, you both would be killed should your people ever find out that you were part of the same band of mercenaries. How ironic. No good deed ever goes unpunished, as the saying goes. Perhaps it's karma, then, for what you've done to me. Yes, I remember that once. We were friends, but that was long ago. That may as well be several lifetimes apart from where we stand now. I chose my path, and you chose the path that opposed mine. Now that our paths have led to this, I would say we're far from friends. Rather, I'd say we're enemies. You broke your vow and turned your back on me. I don't see how we could be anything besides enemies. I don't mean your oath to the Waywards. I couldn't care less about what we pledged in their name. They've been long dissolved for years now. None of us are bound to them anymore. I was talking about our oath. Our vow to always stay beside each other. You told me that you would never leave my side. For years, you told me that. And yet the very moment that Twice Dead and I chose our different paths after the disbanding, you chose to join them. You didn't even hesitate. Why not me? I asked, why didn't you choose me? It's the question I've been wanting to ask you every single day since you and I turned our backs on each other and left for lives that weren't aligned with each other's. I ask myself that every morning. You chose them over me. After everything, you left at their side rather than mine. I just want to know why. I can't go on without knowing. There has to be a reason. And I need to know it. You trusted them more than me. After all of that. After everything. You trusted them more. Reckless. But I've always been reckless. You know that. I thought it was something you liked about me. I thought you found it charming. Why not? Why can't a ruler be both benevolent and reckless? It can't be impossible. My people don't think so. I've been good to my people, and they've lived good lives under my rule. Hell, they've thrived with me as the head of Concarius. I would never put my people's lives in danger. I've only ever done my best to keep them safe. Of course I have. I do everything I can to keep them safe. I protect the people I care about. Yes, I always protected you, didn't I? Yes, of course. Protecting you was something I was honored to do. Even if you didn't need it. I'd still protect you if I could. Why? Why? Because I still care about you. I mean, no, I didn't mean that. I don't care about you. Yes, I said that I care about you. Why do you think I care about you? I've always had feelings for you. They've never left. I mean that I've always felt a certain way for you. I have since all those years ago. How could you possibly not know what I mean? I should think that, given the truth potion, you should be able to figure it out. You have a clever enough mind to understand these tangled words of mine. Surely you must at least have a clue. Think then, Bright Blade. What drives us as humans? What tempts us from beyond our grasp? What keeps us reaching out and grabbing for what we can't have? What has sent millions to war, has caused the spill of blood and the loss of life? What makes the heart race and the mind wander? What makes us who we are? I suppose I can't blame you, can I? It's not as if you'd have any reason to suspect I'd have such emotions toward you. I don't know why it pains me that you can't see it. Love. It's love. I love you. I adore you to the point that it hurts to the core of my existence. My heart burns at each and every passing thought of you. My ears ring with the sound of your voice even in my nightmares. Worse yet, in my dreams. The way your name is carved into my tongue haunts me. And each time I speak of you, it feels as if the wounds reopen deeper than before. My body and mind are a combined force in their love for you. And I can only fall beneath their strength. You are the sole person who is in possession of my heart. And there is no chance of reclaiming it. My heart is yours. It has been since the moment our lives became intertwined. And I doubt that anyone, myself included, could ever pull it free. I love you as metal loves the flame. No matter how cold I may be, you can melt me and burn me down until I am neither sword nor crown. But despite this power you have over me, I love you still. Nothing to say. No response to the painful secret I've held close to my chest for years now. That only makes sense, I suppose. After all, how could you have known? It's been years. How could you have possibly known that when I begged you to join me, to stay by my side, that it wasn't just for your skill? It was never for your blade, nor for your axe or arrow. It was for your mind and soul and heart. Did you truly never realize that? Of course not. I was a fool to think so. Leave me. Your torture has been successful. You've weakened my mind and heart. I will talk, but not to you. Send another in your place. More than one if you feel it necessary. This potion still has its hold, so send them before it expires. I'll tell them whatever they wish. I can still feel your eyes on me. I'll say it again. Leave. It's not as if I can hide anything anymore. And there's no reason to. I'll tell them everything. No double meanings or tangled words. They shall receive the truth, and they'll receive it in whole. Please. Just leave me. My heart can't take this anymore. It's too much. With you looking at me like that, I just... Please, I beg of you. Anyone else? I can't say I expected to see you here. How did you know it was me? Well, I suppose I can't be too surprised, can I? I recognized you from the moment you stepped through those doors. I should only expect that you should be able to do the same with me. It's not as if a mask and fancy outfit can hide the things that matter. No costume can hide the way someone holds himself, nor the way they move or the way they speak. Nor in your case can a mask hide the way you stand at the edge of the room and glare out over everyone, as if they might try to stage an attack at any moment. Yes, I said glaring. Because you are glaring. I know you. I don't need to see under your mask to know that you're glaring. It's quite obvious. Yes, it is. The way you're standing, the way your head is positioned, the way you're holding your shoulders. It's clear as day. Ah, now you're glaring at me. Yes, that is most definitely glaring. No response? I know that you're a quiet person by nature, but in this instance, your silence sounds like defeat. If you remain silent, I will continue to assume that you've accepted your defeat. Careful where you direct that glare of yours. I've seen swords with less ability to cut me than your eyes. No, I'd imagine that the sword at your hip could cut me quicker than your eyes, but it's the burning pain that hurts the most. And the way you look at me. But I didn't come over here just so you could glare at me. No, actually, I came over here because there is something that I wanted to discuss with you. I believe you know exactly what I'm referring to. Nothing to talk about? Nothing to talk about. Are you joking? Did you truly think I wouldn't ask you about... Yes, hello. Can we help you? A dance. Thank you. I appreciate the offer, but I'm afraid I must decline. The Bright Blade and I were just... oh. You wanted to dance with the Bright Blade. I see. Well, I suppose that is for the Bright Blade to... I did? Right, I did. Yes, I just invited the Bright Blade to dance with me, and they accepted? Yes, they accepted. We got so lost in conversation that I forgot why I came over here in the first place. Sorry, dear noble. Better luck next time. And we make a clean escape. So where are we going? We're actually going to dance. No, I don't mind. I simply didn't expect that you'd actually want to dance with me. You're right. If that noble were to see you not dancing with me after turning them down, it might reflect poorly on your kingdom. Oh, I just thought about how odd it is to see you consider things like reputation. Things like that never crossed your mind before. Back when we were way... Hells, what was that for? Ah, right. No one can know that you and the Twice Dead were we're mercenaries. No, I'm not at all afraid of my people finding out about my time as a wayward. Did you not hear? I guess no one has said anything out of fear of ruining my reputation. But it's not as if you could judge me for my past. Could you? When I returned to Kincarius, I hadn't known that the reputation of the Waywards had become so tainted. While I know we weren't exactly praised and adored before, I realized that many people thought that they were the ones that had kidnapped me, the former heir of Concarius, as well as killing the ruler of Vienne. There were a few other heinous things they accused us of, but no one was quite as certain on those. But before I knew any of that, I told everyone that I was a wayward. I spoke openly about it to Asylien and the court, explaining the situation. However, despite everything I told them, they didn't believe me. They said nothing to me about thinking that I was lying, but I could see it in their eyes. Asylien was the worst of all, with that worried smile. Now though, I think that Asylien is beginning to realize that I was telling the truth. Asylien, my younger sibling, the Starkhurst, they were the one who held the crown before I returned and was declared the true ruler. Don't you remember? Right. I forget myself. You're not exactly what I'd call a diplomat. Learning names and titles isn't exactly your expertise, is it? And so it seems, neither is dancing. If I haven't seen you in a fight before, I'd say you never learned your left foot from your right. Surely, you remember how to dance, yes? I spent more than a decent amount of time trying to teach you how. It's truly not that hard. But it isn't. It's just dancing. Here, just follow my lead. You know what I realized just now? I have you trapped. Trapped by societal norms, since you can walk away at any moment, but since doing so might cause embarrassment towards your sovereign, I doubt you will. Oh, but you know I'm right. You may not play these social games like I do, but we both know that leaving a dance after denying a dance with someone else would send a few rumors running through the mill. And right now, with all those gossips beginning to wonder about the past of your sovereign, I'd say that drawing more attention to Losoria would be an ill-advised move. Exactly. So as I said, you're trapped. Which, funnily enough, is what I wanted to talk to you about earlier. Being trapped, that is. Or maybe that isn't a good term for it. Captured is a better one, don't you think? Yes, I was captured. Captured and held captive in the dungeons of Losoria. An odd situation for a royal to be in, certainly, but there's been accounts of such happening. However, I've hardly ever heard of one escaping after being captured. In fact, I believe that I might be the first case that I've ever heard about where a royal not only escaped, but was in attendance of a wedding in the neighboring kingdom only a week later. Bizarre, isn't it? It certainly was to me. Especially since I was released against the wishes of the twice dead. And the strangest part, the thing that confuses me the most, is that I know you were the one who released me. Don't. You can't deny it. I know it was you. You may be able to trick everyone else, but I know you. And I know that it was you that night. You were the one in the mask who freed me from the cell and guided me to the outskirts of the kingdom. No interrupting. I'm talking, and you know how much I love to hear myself talk. As I was saying, I know that you were the masked stranger who released me that night. I know you were the one who unlocked the door and led me through all those dark alleys until we reached the forest at the edge of the kingdom. I know it was you who set me free. But I do know. I'm certain of it. It's as I said earlier. A mask can't hide the pattern of your walk or the way your hand rests at the hilt of your sword. A mask can't hide the way you move, can't cover every instinct ingrained in your mind and body alike. A mask does nothing besides cover your face. My dear Bright Blade, if I only knew you by your face, I'd consider myself the most pathetic type of lovesick fool. There may be many things in this world that I don't care about enough to know beyond what meets the eye, but you are so deeply ingrained into every part of my life, into every part of me, that I could never be so shallow with you. My heart won't allow it. It's with that in mind that I tell you that I know without even the slightest trace of doubt that it was you. You can say whatever you want, but there is nothing in this world that can disguise you from me. I know that it was you who rescued me, and now the question I have for you is why? Why did you set me free knowing that your sovereign wanted me captured? You can't just stay quiet about this forever. I'm not going to leave without answers. You're far too stubborn sometimes. You know that. Yes, takes one to know one. You're very funny. Now don't try to change the subject. Why did you release me? Because I want to know. You went out of your way to disobey your sovereign and set me free. That went against everything you've done until that point. You must have had some sort of reason for doing so, and my lovesick heart wants to believe that your reason must be that you have feelings for me as well. So I need you to tell me what your actual reasons were before my heart gets the better of my head and makes me more infatuated with you than I already am. Of course I'm still in love with you. Did you think that after everything I said, it would just go away like that? No, they didn't. So that's why I need to know your reasons for releasing me. To prevent war. Yes, that makes sense. A war could break out soon, given the relationship between our people, as well as the twice-dead crown and I. We aren't exactly allies at this point, are they? But perhaps they could be. There's a simple solution to ease the tensions between our kingdoms. Well, if I were to propose to you, Losoria and Concurious would enter an alliance, and the risk of war would be eliminated. Yes, as in marriage. I wouldn't force you to fulfill the romantic parts of the marriage, though I won't lie that I would be thrilled if you were to develop such feelings for me. But so long as we're together again, that would be more than enough. As much as I despise your sovereign, I'm sure that if you would agree to marrying me, they would be willing to hear you out. Not to mention, such a powerful alliance would be something for them to consider, given how beneficial a trade system between our kingdoms could be. Given how many upsides there are to such an agreement, I think it would be a wonderful agreement. So will you marry me? Not of high enough standing. You are the Bright Blade, Losoria's infamous executioner and the right hand of the twice-dead crown. Your reputation is widely renowned and widely respected. I highly doubt anyone would claim that you're not worthy of marrying me. Foolish. But that was an honest suggestion. Yes, I suppose it is a reckless idea, but I truly want you at my side, and I don't want to wait any longer. Oh, no, You're right. I was only thinking of what I wanted and not of what you wanted. I didn't even offer any solutions or compromises, I just demanded that you join me. I'm sorry. You were right about what you said when we talked last. I am more reckless than I should be. I see that now. I can also be incredibly inconsiderate, which is particularly shameful in regards to you, since I claim to love you as much as I do. And I do. I love you like my heart is in your hand, and it's only you that keeps it beating steady. I should love you enough to think of your wants and to prioritize them, but my own desires blinded me. I shouldn't have suggested the things that I did. And I'm truly sorry. You're forgiving me so soon. Yes. I suppose you have to pay me back for that little capturing incident somehow. Though I don't think that forgiving me for this single incident makes up for the fact that you held me captive. True, you weren't the one who had ordered me to be taken, and you did set me free, disobeying your orders, even though it meant disobeying your sovereign. I suppose that this makes us even. Though it's a murky deadlock, isn't it? Just as it always used to be. Do you remember how we used to be? When we were still waywards? Always teasing each other and competing to see who was the better archer, the fastest runner, the stronger swordsman. We were always tied, just barely, with each of us being skilled in ways that the other wasn't. I never could best you in a sword fight, but you can't deny that I had better aim than you ever did. Why, that sounds like a challenge. Dear Bright Blade, are you challenging me? A challenge like that has been issued at such a formal event? What would your people think? Their infamously diplomatic, peaceful executioner, behaving so brutishly. Hey, now it's time you stepped on my foot on purpose. What? You didn't think I'd do the same to you? Well, then you clearly aren't. Quit trying to step on my foot again. You are an absolute fiend. Quit laughing. People are starting to look at us. Hells. But I've missed this. Just being with you like this. I can't even explain how good it feels to talk to you like this again. I miss how it used to be. When it was just us and whatever mission we were on. Sometimes I wish we could have stayed like that forever. Yes, I know. Time goes on and change must come with it. And there's no use in fighting the change. But I can't help my wanting. Even those wants that could never come to pass. My dreams may only ever remain dreams, but they're still nice to think about. Don't you have dreams? No? You don't have dreams. I don't believe you. Everyone has dreams. You prefer to live in reality. That is the most ridiculous. Oh, pardon us. Here, move closer to me so we don't bump into anyone else. Oh. No, sorry. I'm fine. It's just been so long since we've been this close, and it caught me off guard for a moment. What was I gonna say about what? Ah, right. You know, I suppose that there may be some benefits to your way of thinking. There are many moments in this world that are better than dreams could ever be, and this is certainly one of them. You agree? Dear Bright Blade, I'm begging you to not say such things. You don't know what you're doing to my heart. Please, just let me enjoy this moment and the person I'm spending it with. It appears that our dance has come to an end. And I will see you some other time. Wait. Sorry, I don't mean to be so indecisive, but please don't go. Dance with me for just a while longer. After tonight, I don't know when I'll see you next, and I... Please? Thank you. If a marriage proposal is too soon for you now, then I understand, and I can accept that. But I can't help myself, and I must ask, is there a chance that someday you might accept an offer of courtship from me? Then, for now, I am content with dancing. So long as I have you near, even for a moment, it will give me something to hold on to when we're apart. It might be a bit early to ask, but could we share the next dance as well? I can't say this is what I had in mind when I called our kingdoms together to work out a peace treaty. But I wouldn't be lying if I didn't think it would end this way. God, is there really no way to have a nice, civil meeting without someone plotting an assassination? I even offered them rooms to rest in before the meetings were to start. Yet they chose to try to kill us instead. I'll have to give credit where credit is due. When Cetrus decides to send assassins after you, they send the best they have. Ruthless, truly. Cetrus, ruler of Rothero, the ones we were supposed to make a peace treaty with tonight. Good gods above. You are as awful with names and titles as ever. Did you even bother to learn the names of the nobility of the other kingdoms before you came to this meeting? Fuck. No, it's nothing. Just a scratch. Are you alright? You're sure? No major injuries? Me? Where am I? Well, that is quite a bit of blood. Well, how could I? I was too busy fighting off assassins to notice that I'd been cut. At the moment, that seemed to be a much more pressing matter. You say it as if we didn't get any injuries when we were waywards. There's no need to look so suspicious. There's no one around to hear us. Yes, because I'm sure that Rothero sent spies after the assassination, as if they have any need to gather any more information. You noticed it too, I trust. From the way they spoke, it was as if they knew more than what they should. And not just about my past. They knew about you and the twice said being waywards, and that is what worries me more. Because no one has managed to figure out your past. But Cetrus seems to know nearly everything about us. More than anyone besides another wayward should ever know. Now, with such a blatant act of violence toward both our kingdoms, I'm worried that I might know what's caused a sudden strike. Well, before I tell you that, perhaps we should continue this conversation in my bedchambers. Not in that sense, Bright Blade. I've just happened to notice that I'm not the only one with blood soaking through my clothes, and I have the tools to fix that in my chambers. What? And wake the physician at this hour? There's no point in that. We used to fix injuries worse than this for each other on a near daily basis. It'll be simple enough to do it again. Unless, of course, you think your skills have dulled after all this time. Then let them sleep for tonight. My room isn't far. Do you think you can make it? Well, I thought it would be polite to ask, given how evident the stab wound in your leg is. If you insist, come on then, before you lose too much blood and pass out in the hall. Fine, before either of us pass out in the hall. Though you seem to be much closer to losing consciousness than I am. Fuck. Was it really necessary to elbow me? I'm already bleeding. It's not as if I need another bruise to add to tonight's collection of injuries. Quit laughing, you menace. I'm about to tend to your wounds, and this is how you repay me? That was simply revenge. An eye for an eye, as they say. You should have expected at least some retaliation. Oh, save it for another time, Bright Blade. We can duel this out after we've sewn each other up and cleared out the assassins' bodies. I'm full of good ideas, as you should well know. Recovering from an assassination attempt before a friendly spar just happens to be one of them. I'm glad we're in agreement. I'll show you to my room if you'll follow me. That is, if you can. This is why I asked if you could walk. That's no shallow cut, and walking will only agitate it more. You know that. Could you just put your pride down and... Fine then, keep up. I'm not waiting for you. Stubborn as all the hells, per usual. Just let me help you. That wasn't a question. There we are. See, that's easier, isn't it? Oh, please. It's not as if this is the first time we've done this. Why are you so up in arms about me helping you this time? Fine. Stay silent. Just as you always do. I'm saying you don't communicate well. Especially when it comes to anything that involves emotion. Anything that involves your emotions, then. You can't always ignore your own feelings. You're not just some weapon to be constantly held at the ready. You're a person with a mind and a heart that I know very well. I knew you well before you were the Bright Blade, and I know that you do have feelings. I've held you while you wept, weathered the storm of your rage, felt the warmth of your joy. I've seen your face express every emotion that has a name, and even more that I could never begin to describe. You can't tell me that your feelings are something so easy to push aside when I know how strong they are. Stronger than your feelings. Of course, that's how you would choose to see it. You don't need to glare at me. I didn't mean anything bad by it. I was just saying that it's obvious that you have that sort of mindset. Of course, I don't agree with it. I absolutely detest it. But I didn't say it with the intention to insult you. You're joking, surely. Of course emotions are important. They're what makes us who we are. Well, if you want to approach it from a philosophical standpoint, some other time then. For now, let's just agree to disagree. I think that we should probably deal with the matters of tonight first. It was certainly more of a bloodbath than I was hoping for. And the fact that Rothero's assassins knew so much about the Waywards does little to set my mind at ease. Speaking of which, I have a theory on why those assassins knew so much. First, let me get started on treating your leg. I'll tell you once we've begun. Here, I'll get the supplies. In the meantime, use your dagger and cut the fabric around the area off so it doesn't catch on the injury and... Right. My apologies. I'm forgetting myself. You already know what to do. I'll be back in just a moment. This should be everything we need. May I see your leg? Mine isn't as steep as yours. It can wait. I'd rather make sure that you don't bleed out first. Then I'll make this quick. Lucky for both of us, being the head of a kingdom has allowed me access to some incredibly helpful supplies. Such as this. It's a very helpful salve that helps numb the area. Now move your leg closer, let me see it. By the gods. This is worse than I thought. It starts lower on the thigh than I assumed, but you're cut all the way down to your ankle. Is this the only injury you have? Good. Let me clean off as much blood as I can before I try to use any of the salve. You're lucky this isn't too deep. Otherwise, we actually would need to wake the physician. Taking a hit like this? Are you getting rusty, Bright Blade? Imagine what all the others would say. The strongest swordman of the Waywards, getting soft as the right hand of the ruler of Losoria. Though from the looks of it, at least one of them may already know. What I'm suggesting is that there may be someone outside of the three of us who has already figured out who you and the Twisted are. Yes, really. That can be the only explanation. I've told no one, and I know you wouldn't have told anyone. The Twisted, as much as I might not favor them, would never betray anyone's trust like that. The only other reason someone would know who we are is if they were a wayward. As a matter of fact, I already have a suspect in mind. For the past few years, there's been rumors of Cetras having an assassin as their right hand, and many think that they seem particularly close. Given the supposed skill set of the assassin, I reckon that they're more familiar than I had first assumed. So you know the title of the rumored assassin that aids Rothero's crown, but not the name of the crown ruler himself. You're unbelievable. Turn your leg a bit. No, towards me. Good. Right there. Hold it just like that. I'm going to start with the sutures. But yes, I believe that the Forest Heart is actually one of our former friends. Though I can't say which. Oh? Then who are you thinking of? Osias? You really think they could be Cetrus's assassin? It does make sense now that you've said it. They share a similar skill set from what I've heard, and if I recall, Osias was born on the edge of Rothero. It's likely that after the disbandment, they returned to their home. But that does little to ease my mind. If anything, I'm more worried now than I was prior to suggesting tonight's meeting. This isn't just an attack on our kingdoms, it's an attack from someone who knows far more about us than we do about them. Tonight was meant to be a clean way to dispose of us. But the fact that we lived won't deter them. Far from it. This was an act that will lead to war. And once word gets back to Rothero, I have no doubt that it will only become a matter of time before everything is set in motion. Agreed. If we can act before word gets back to them, then we have a better chance than we would just sitting like idle birds waiting for sunrise. The Forest Heart identity is something I'd like to know, but my concern lies more with getting into the kingdom and what we would do afterwards. It's difficult to invade a kingdom. Even more so to invade a castle and kill the ruler and their knights, guards, and assassins. Oh? Any ideas? Well, don't think too hard. I'm almost done bandaging your leg, and then it'll be your turn to return the favor. I don't need you getting distracted and doing more damage than the assassins. I suppose I should be careful about the jokes I make now, shouldn't I? It might not be the wisest idea to taunt the person who is about to stab me repeatedly with a needle. Maybe so, but I can't help it. It's easier to try and erase this tension than to suffer from the weight of the inevitable. Either way, the war will find us, and if I'm to play a role and fight in it, then I'll need this lovely little injury of mine fixed. So if you'd please, would you mind trading places with me so we can be done with this? Wonderful. Now give me just a moment. This shirt is so damn tight that I don't want to attempt cutting it off, so I'm going to try removing my shirt enough that you'll be able to access the full length of the cut. I think that if I move slowly, I can undo the first few buttons and slide it down over my shoulder without making it worse. There. Will that be enough? Good. Then whenever you're ready to begin, I'm at your mercy. Though I'd prefer if your mercy did include some of the salve. It's not that I thought that you wouldn't use it, I just merely felt like it would do me well to remind you that you can use it. You're not exactly known to be the gentle type. I'm just stating a fact. You aren't Losoria's greatest healer, after all. Hells, you're proving my point exactly. How do you find a way to apply numbing medicine in a way that hurts? Well, you have a talent for it. At least I won't be able to feel the sutures. Alrighty. Truly. What's this plan, then? It's quite a unique plan, but I believe that it could work. Actually, it could be perfect if we play it right. Only kill Cetrus and leave Osias to deal with it. Either everyone will turn on the infamous Forest Heart and blame them for Cetrus's death, or we'll elect another ruler in Cetrus's place. If the latter of those happens, then Osias will either have to serve the new crown, or will be unwilling to do so and leave the kingdom completely. Obviously, it will be difficult to infiltrate the kingdom and get Cetrus alone, but that's nothing we've not done before as waywards. I'm curious about how much of a challenge it will be to fight Cetrus. From all the rumors, the title of Champion of the Sun was one that Cetrus fought to earn. Right. First would be the infiltration. What did you have in mind in those regards? The way you're speaking right now makes me think that you intend to complete this assassination alone. No. By the gods, no. You are not going to attempt to kill Cetrus alone. Because it's dangerous? If you were to go alone and get caught, there would be no one to help you escape. You could die there, and not a single soul would have realized it until it was too late. I'm going with you, and I won't accept anything else. As much as I trust my knights and assassins, I'm not sending any of them with you. They may be skilled, but when faced with the likes of the Champion of the Sun and the Forest Heart, you need someone more practiced at your side. I don't care that I'm the Queen of Concurious. That doesn't matter. We can tell people that I'm visiting someone in another kingdom, or something like that. No, I will go with you, and that's final. Because they can't protect you as well as I can. You know why. Because Because I know you better than anyone else. I fight alongside you like no one else can, and having me at your side is the only way that this is certain to end in a way that serves both our kingdoms as well. I'm not doubting your skill, but you know that having me to watch your back will make it so much easier to do what needs to be done. Having a partner doesn't mean that you are weak. It just means that you have someone you can rely on should you need to. You'd think after all those years as waywards that you would have learned that. Oh, am I now? And why is that? Do you think I'm not as good as you? Is that it? Do you think I've gotten weak from sitting on a throne? Do you think I can't keep up with you? Then why exactly is it do you think I can't be your partner? Why won't it work? My emotions. And since when have you ever had any regard for my emotions? As far as I've seen, you couldn't care any less about how I feel. So why should that be so important to you now? Of course I still love you. Do you really think that asking that same question every time you see me will change anything? Oh, so now you're telling jokes. What, are you trying to relieve the tension too? Or are you trying to avoid this conversation altogether? Trying to avoid telling me why you can't stand the fact that I have feelings for you? No, I deserve to know. The very moment I said those words to you, you changed. The way you looked at me, it was like some sort of spell was cast on you. It was as if everything about you that saw me as a long-known friend, as someone you knew and trusted all those years, it was as if all of that suddenly disappeared. You looked at me like I was a stranger. It was as if merely hearing me say those words made me a different person to you. A person who you hated. Is it truly so horrible that I have feelings for you? Then why are you so cold to me? Why do you attract me like I'm some sort of fool who has only known you for a night before claiming to love you? I'm not using my words lightly when I tell you that I love you. I'm not expecting you to return my feelings, and certainly not to the same degree. But there's no reason for you to dismiss me so goddamn cruelly. Of course things are different now. I realize that. But a crown doesn't have anything to do with this. Of course I'm trying to protect you. It's what we've always done. Why does that bother you so much now? The only thing that has changed since then is our titles. How could it be so different? So what if I'm a queen? Being royalty doesn't negate the fact that I want to protect you and will do anything in my power to do so. Even if it means setting aside my responsibilities for a while. Reckless, again with that word. You say it every time I ask for a reason for anything. I'm too reckless to lead my kingdom, too reckless to have the power I have, too reckless to want to protect anything. It's like you use that word in place of my name. What is it about me wanting to protect you that is so horribly reckless? I would, in a heartbeat, and I don't care what you think about it. There are other people that can manage Concarius in my stead, but there is no one that can protect you as well as I can. I'd drop everything, my crown, my kingdom, my sword, everything, so I could save you. It doesn't matter the circumstances. I will always come to your side, and I couldn't care if that makes me reckless. Because I love you. I've said it time and time again, and yet you still brush it off as if it can't mean what it does. Then why do those words upset you so much? Is that why you refuse to consider having something more with me? Do you think I'd be so careless with your heart that I would break it? Because I swear to you, I would never allow myself to do something like that. If not that, then what is it? You won't lose me. I swear it. There is nothing in this world that could pull me from your side. No. I suppose I can't promise you that. I've said many times that I'd die for you. And I mean that with every ounce of my being. I can't promise you that I won't put my life on the line to save yours, should it come to that. I'm so terrified of losing you that I'd gladly die in your place. And you're terrified of losing me because I'd do exactly that. Worse yet, I know that you'd push me out of the way and accept my death as your own, should our roles be reversed. How ironic. The reason I try to pull you closer is the same reason that you push me away. The way we try to protect each other only hurts us even more, doesn't it? What a star-crossed pair we make. At least now I have a reason as to why you've rejected my feelings. And I understand completely. Though, might I say something? Trying to avoid me and push me away isn't going to make my feelings for you go away. All it's doing is hurting both of us. And yes, I know I've been a bit spontaneous with my advances towards you. Yes, I know. Asking for your hand in marriage at the masquerade so suddenly was perhaps not the wisest idea, and I can admit to that. Alright, yes, the letters requesting that you come visit may have been a bit much, I'll admit. But it felt so long since we'd last met, and I wanted to see you again. I know, and I knew it was unlikely, but I still had to try. Imagine my surprise when I got word that you would be coming in the Twistead's place. Oh, what's this now? From the way you said that, it seems like you were the one who chose to come here, rather than the Twistead deciding to send you. You did. That's quite a surprise. About a pleasant one. But that begs the question of why you wanted to come. Is it possible that you miss me too? Could that be it? Wait a second. That look on your face. You did miss me, didn't you? That's not a no, my dear Bright Blade. Rather, that almost sounds like it could be a yes. And if it is, gods be good, are you saying that you did miss me? Oh, of course I'm smiling. Hearing you say that is quite... well, it's not what I expected in the least. No, it's not that. I simply didn't expect you to say it so genuinely. It's different, but not unfamiliar. It reminds me of how you used to talk to me all those years ago. I missed it dearly. I miss so much of us and what we used to be. All the traveling for days on end while sharing idle chatter. The many hours spent training together and bickering all the while. I even miss the nights afterwards, trying to sleep on those cots in the medic's tent after bandaging each other up. Oh, I hadn't realized that you were done. Though I probably should have. You've always tied bandages too tight. It feels like you're trying to make them as tight as my own skin. It really does feel like it did back then, doesn't it? Though rather than the cold, damp medics tent, now we have the warmth of a castle. Though my warmth could also be attributed to being so close to you, if I'm being truthful. Flirting, I would never. I'm merely stating that due to the nature of helping with each other's injuries, we're fairly close together. That wasn't my way of saying that you should move away from me. In fact, I'd like it if you'd stay right here. Well, yes, you could call it that. But it's not so much flirting as it is honesty. Yes, honesty. Given what you know about me, does that seem like something I would lie about? It's not as if I've been able to hide my feelings from you. Certainly not after our fun little meeting in your dungeon. Of course. Ask me anything. I'll answer honestly. If I'm being completely honest, then what I want right now is for you to stay the night with me. I want nothing more than to sleep next to you again, and to know that you are safe at my side and that I'm safe at yours. Yes, really. If I were to ask for anything in the world to have at this exact moment, that is the only thing I would say. Then what is it that you want? If you could have anything in the world right now, what would you ask for? Do you mean that? Do you really want the same? Yes, yes, I'm more than alright with that. If you mean it, then I would be more than happy to have you sleep here. I can't tell you what that would mean to me. This night certainly has taken a turn for the better. Well, if a peace treaty wasn't destined to work, then I'd say that this is the best possible outcome. Let's not think about that right now. Cleaning up corpses can wait for tomorrow. Finally, we're on the same page for once. So why don't we sleep for now and we can save cleaning out the bodies, preventing a war, and our deceptively complex relationship for tomorrow. Agreeing on more than one thing in an hour. That must be a record. And now you want me to get under the covers with you? My God, Bright Blade. We aren't officially courting yet. Alright, I'll quit joking. But only because I'm tired, cold, and would very much like to go to bed and not have to think for a while. Fine, I'll admit that I was flirting. After losing as much blood as we have, it doesn't matter how warm the fire is, I'm still gold. You can feel free to tease me now. I've been caught brazenly flirting with the person I've been in love with for years. How scandalous. Too tired. Too tired. Why, I believe that this might be a first that I've ever seen you too tired to poke fun at me. What a miraculous occasion. You must truly be exhausted beyond compare. That I can agree to. Even I am getting tired of my jokes, and you know how much I love to hear myself talk. Then let's go to bed and call the day done. Would you like to get under the covers? I promise I won't make any more jokes. Yes, I swear. Excellent. I promise it'll be much warmer. It is. It's much better than shaking and trying to sleep without covers. I know. It's so easy to fall asleep here after all the events of today. It's odd. The assassination attempt was somehow the least stressful part of the day. Our conversation was more exhausting by far. Well, injuries are more predictable at this point. Emotions are far more difficult. Then before this awfully stressful day is over, could I ask one more thing of you? I suppose it depends on what something annoying would be. Why don't I just ask and you can tell me if it's something that you would call annoying? Let me hold your hand. Just for the night. Why else? Because I love you and I want to hold you close. I know, and I'm alright with that. That's why I ask only to hold your hand and for nothing more. I might like to kiss you, but I won't ask for more than you will give. For you, of course, I'm happy to compromise. So you'll let me then? Even if it's just for tonight? You know, lying here and holding your hand like this, it makes me feel at peace in a way. Like I'm holding the entirety of the universe in my grasp. And it's all because you're here beside me. Fine. Then I guess I'll have to wait until you're asleep before I begin with my romantic ramblings. It certainly wouldn't be the first time. Certainly not. I've spewed many sappy thoughts about how your eyes look by the light of the fire or how your smile captivates me. No, there's no reason to go stealing the sheets from me when I was just answering your question. Then you'll just have to fall asleep so you don't hear me. Of course. I don't mind in the least if you rest your head on my shoulder. But just so long as you know that it will make me much happier than it should. And I'll be smiling while I speak of my love for you. By all means, go ahead. Just let me know when you're asleep so I'll know when my obnoxious rambling won't keep you awake. Oh, I promise that I will. You're an incredibly restless sleeper, and many times my only sign that you were asleep was receiving an unnecessary kick to my shin. Sure. Just don't push me off the bed in your sleep, okay, my beloved? Then hurry up and fall asleep. I'm getting restless. Good night to you as well. I hope that your dreams are restful and that my sickly sweet poetry ruins any peace you might find in them. A lovely night, isn't it? So this is where you escaped to. I've been looking for you, you know. In fact, many people have. Because they want to share a dance with you, of course. With Losoria's twice-dead crown now married, you've now been dragged to the center of the stage as the most desirable and eligible people in the entire kingdom. Dare I say it, maybe even the entire continent. Yes, really. You've been on the receiving end of several very interested gazes. Or haven't you seen them? Scared them? I'm sorry, but I'm afraid not. While you usually cut quite the intimidating figure with your sword and armor, it's a different story tonight. I assure you, tonight is very different. Oh, but it is. You see, with the twice dead now busy with their newly betrothed, it's the first time many people are seeing you away from their side. Many of them have also noticed that you look particularly good in formal attire. Incredibly good, if I might say so. What? Did you think my own gaze would not be caught by you? I should think that you would know better by now. My eyes are always drawn to you, no matter the circumstance, but tonight, you look even more radiant than normal. It's got my thoughts quite a bit tangled. Come now, Bright Blade. You should know better than to expect me to not flirt with you. Especially given how nice this gilded armor looks on you. Yes, I'm aware it's purely ceremonial, but that does little to distract from how good you look in it. Though, distracted is the exact word I'd use to describe what I am, thanks to how you look. Oh, very. I'm almost ashamed to say that when I catch sight of you, I can't help but fall prey to my urge to stare. I'm sure I've looked quite rude to all my dance partners, glancing over their shoulders to look at you. Most certainly they are. I'm sure by now rumors of my ill-mannered ways have begun to spread through the rumor mill. An odd case, given that I'm sure the gossips of the kingdom's courts would find the true story even more entertaining and worthy of their time. The sole ruler of Concurious, the wild flame vying for the affections of the Bright Blade of Losoria, having held affections for them for several years. That would be something even more worthy than their incessant warbling. It would be quite the mess to deal with. Though I have to say, part of me quite likes the idea of my affections being uncovered by the courts. I know. You're not so fond of the idea, and I understand why. Truly, I do. My mind, the rational parts of it, even agree. But there's still part of me that wishes to let the word slip about my feelings. At the very least, so that all my advisors would finally quit pestering me about finding someone to court. That answer is obvious, I should think. Of course, there are emotional reasons behind such logic. What a ridiculous question to ask. Yes, my heart does beat for you. However, just because I love you doesn't mean that I shall dull any sharp words I send your way. Oh? Then do you plan to weaken the strength of your own words as well? Then no, I don't believe that I will. What fun is a battle if neither of the opponents are willing to fight? Your thoughts and mine are one and the same on that matter. It's why I've always enjoyed sparring with you. No matter the circumstances, you always rose to my challenge. You never held anything back or shied away from me. And even when I lost, I appreciated that. You know, it was during those sparring matches that I always felt closest to you. Because it was during our fights that I, alone, had your full attention. That fire in your eyes, those wicked words, that grin like a blade you could hold to my throat, all directed at me and no other. It was an exhilarating feeling to know that I was the sole person in your thoughts, even if those thoughts were primarily about how you could take me down. Even before I knew what words to put on my feelings for you, I still wanted to be a permanent fixture in your thoughts. You may say that, but I seem to recall that you would challenge me to a duel just as many times as I would challenge you. Then I assume that you enjoyed our sparring matches just as much as I did? The ruthless executioner, Bright Blade, thinks that I, a mere royal with guards to protect them, can prove to be a challenge. That may be the highest compliment I've ever received. Yes, I might still be a skilled fighter, but I hardly have the same renown as you. Few names strike fear into the hearts of our enemies and allies alike like yours does. Only our two kingdoms know you to be a human as any other, rather than a specter of death and demise. Oh, I'm certain that no member of my court would even begin to imagine what I was like as a wayward. They would be scandalized to realize that we used to fight each other as mercilessly as we did. The amount of blood we could spill from each other in less than a minute was impressive, to say the least. I think some of my very first scars were received at your hands. Hopefully you received some of yours from me as well. Good. I'd hate to be the only one bearing souvenirs from our time together. It would be far too greedy to keep all the injuries for myself. All this talk of dueling has me feeling rather full of want for another fight with you. Very much so. I always am, but at this moment, that craving is particularly strong. It's quite overwhelming, actually. Almost the only thing I can think about. Am I remembering correctly, or was I not shown a rather impressive training ground when I was taken on a tour of the castle? Excellent. Then it will not be much of a journey at all. I plan to spar with you, of course. Haven't you been paying attention to our conversation at all? Then what if we do? It's not either of our weddings. Even if our absence has become of note, which I realize that it very well may have, I doubt that anyone would come looking for us at the training grounds. Certainly not when an event as grand as the royal wedding is taking place. I'll admit that perhaps Raisin might, but given how it's their wedding, I highly doubt that they would be able to escape the crowd of well-wishers. Yes, I know. It's an odd feeling to call them by their name after so long. But well, when an ally invites you to their wedding and tells you that they miss your friendship, you tend to drop the formal titles. Thus I promised that I would try to call them Raisin more often, though I often feel myself slipping and calling them the Twice Dead. Well, our allyship is now set in stone, is it not? This wedding did exactly that, hence why we've been able to talk so freely all night, and why I was given such a thorough tour of the castle. I was even able to take note of the quality of your training grounds, which I distinctly recall to be rather close to us now, aren't they? Ah, now you're getting that look in your eyes. You're beginning to crave the same as I, aren't you? You want to spar with me just as much as I want to spar with you. It is reckless. I know that just as well as you do. And yet you still want to, don't you? That's precisely what I wanted to hear. Shall we then? It's a wonderful time of night for an unarmed duel in our finest clothes. Excited, are we? You're walking fast. Am I? I hadn't noticed. Perhaps we're both excited. Then what about a race? We could race each other to the training grounds, just as the same as we used to. True. These shoes aren't good for much of anything, much less running. I suppose we'll just have to walk. You're moving a bit fast, Bright Blade. Are you trying to beat me there? So then you're not walking faster than me because you want to say that you want a race that we agreed we weren't having? You are incorrigible, you know that? Slow down. The armor looks far too uncomfortable to walk in, let alone trying to run. Besides, I would hate for you to waste your energy on trying to beat me when I'm clearly going to win anyway. As I said, I win. Now, Bright Blade. You shouldn't throw stones when you live in walls made of glass. I wasn't the first one who tried to play dirty, was I? You can hardly blame me for winning a game that you set the rules for. You can blame the armor as much as you want, but we both know that I was going to win either way. Then I suppose we'll have to have a rematch at some point, won't we? We might even have to start keeping track of wins and losses. Of course. We're allies now, remember? This marriage between our kingdoms has made it official. That means that visits between us will be much more commonplace. With more visits will come the opportunity for us to compete more. And if that's the case, a record might be helpful to have, so we know which one of us is truly the better of the two of us. You're rather confident in yourself, aren't you? I didn't say it wasn't for good reason. You've proven your skills time and time again, and are a worthy competitor in every arena you might enter. No one is debating that, least of all me. However, it's as you've said, we're equals in regard to our training and background, and I still keep up with duels and competitions. Even with all of your skills, you know as well as I do that only a fool would predict the winner of a duel before we even started. Perhaps yes, if I were someone else, that might be the case. However, I'm not. And that's something that drew you to me more than any of the others. I always give you a challenge. You love the thrill of the fight, and that's something that I always provide. You can't deny that. Exactly my point. It's only enjoyable if you don't have to hold back. You've never had to hold back with me, have you? Likewise, I've never had to pull a single strike when fighting you. It's what makes me so addicted to you. To fighting you, that is. Feeling rather flirty, are you? Those words reek of roses and honey. If it's an attempt to distract me, you should know that it won't work. No, as a matter of fact, it won't. I've had romantic feelings for you for a significant amount of time. Trying to fluster me by reciprocating my affections will do little to throw me off my guard. If anything, it will only excite me even further and make this fight even more enthralling. Did you expect anything less? Given what you know of me, I should think that this would be an obvious outcome. Maybe when I was younger it might have. If I was still young enough to be afraid of breaking our friendship, my heart might beat like a wild bird as panic overcame me. However, I know better than to let those flighty thoughts cloud my mind, especially in regards to you. Yes, especially you. You are at the center of my romantic affections, and have been for a while. That alone has complicated the way I think of you. That, combined with everything we've been through, had my thoughts fairly muddled for a while. For a while, I wasn't sure how I should feel or what I should think about you. It wasn't until after you captured me that I finally realized the truth of the matter. The truth is, no matter what you know of my feelings, and no matter what I tell you of them, you won't leave me. Even when I was afraid that my attraction to you would turn you against me, you wouldn't have. And even if I had been afraid of your feelings towards me, I would have never turned you away. Do you know why? It's because we were never meant to be apart. More than that, we never wanted to be apart. Certainly not for our entire lives. We've been drawn together time and time again, and though it might not always have been in ideal circumstances, I would not have changed a thing about our time together. Merely being able to catch a glimpse of you during a formal event or hearing rumors of you from traveling merchants was a miracle. Every last interaction was a blessing, and I can only beg to have more of you. Because I've seen all of your guarded reactions and stoic glances in my direction. I've seen your tense posture, your cold expressions, your monotone words. I've seen all of those and more, and I've seen all of it fall to the ground in front of me. I've seen the way your eyes search for me in every room and soften when you catch my gaze. I've watched your firm scowl turn into a smile when you hear my voice. I've heard the warmth that sinks into your tone when you tease me like only you can. I've seen all of this and more, and I know this above all else. This world may drag us apart, but we won't always find our way back to each other. There may be times when we are torn from each other, but I will always come back to you. And I know that you will always come back to me as well. That's why I feel so comfortable to speak each and every word that my heart urges me to feel. I know that, as achingly romantic as my feelings might be, you will not leave me. For as much as I flirt and tease you, and for as much as you roll your eyes and taunt me in return, you and I have never left each other's side. That's how we were then, and how we should always be, together. And what if I am? What if my thoughts are turning to those of a romantic nature? Is it really so strange at this point? You say that as if there is a time and place for emotions. You should know by now that you don't get to decide what you feel or how you feel it. You just learn to live with them. Because those feelings are never a burden. I cherish them. Every stray thought or memory of you, no matter the time or place, can find me with a smile on my lips. My affections and adorations are not something that get in my way or annoy me. Rather, I enjoy them, savor them even. My love for you is something that I would die for. I would rather my heart be ripped from my chest than to have it beat for someone else. I've said I would die for you before, but I wonder, did you know how far those feelings extended? Even back then, did you know how devoted I was to you? Because I am. I forever will be. I will die before my love for you fades. You know my words are true, don't you? I can see it from the look in your eyes. You find no lies in my words because you know there are none. There's no reason for them. Then may I speak another truth? I know I don't need to ask. But when I finally say these words, there will be no way to ignore what they mean. Are you sure you're prepared for that? I'm not trying to delay this conversation. I'm simply not sure what will happen after I say this. What will become of us after I say this? You're right, of course. It's as I said, no matter what happens next, we will always be drawn back to each other. My apologies for forgetting. I suppose I was getting caught up in my own thoughts. Yes, I know, but we all make mistakes. I'm allowed to fall prey to my own thoughts every once in a while, yes. And now you're just teasing me. So rude. So mean. You're gonna make me cry. I shall never cease to be amused by how your teasing is the quickest way to calm my nerves and steady my mind. Thank you for that just now. It's much appreciated. I'm not trying to stall, you're just being impatient. Fine, then I'll just say it. I know that you love me. And I do mean that. I know without a trace of doubt that you love me. Your eyes when you look at me, your smile when you say my name, your posture when I stand next to you, your hand when I reach for it. You have shown me your love time and time again. I might say my desire for you with words, but you say yours with your actions, and I can read them all. Every glance and whisper has shown the way your love for me has grown. It's in your heart like it's a part of your blood, coursing through you and keeping you warm on the coldest of nights. You can't separate it from yourself anymore. You love me. And there's that smile. I'm right, aren't I? You do love me. Then why don't you say those words for me, my love? Even so, I'd appreciate hearing it in your voice. Oh, quit teasing me, would you? Just tell me that you love me. And I love you too. Now, was that so hard? You know, this is far from where I expected tonight to end. But when I think about it, it seems almost inevitable. Yes, inevitable, because truly, how much longer could we have resisted each other? Even tonight, when I told you I wanted to spar, once we were standing across from each other, all I could focus on was the way your eyes looked at me, a fire to rival all of the stars. All I could think about was how I couldn't care less about fighting you, because all I wanted to do was kiss you. Of course I still do. It's all I can think about right now. Oh? You seem interested in my thoughts. Can I assume that you've had the same thought before? Then, perhaps, if you're interested in that idea, we should indulge in those thoughts. Then kiss me, love. I would hate for either of us to wait any longer. Well, that was, for all the time that I've thought about kissing you, I don't think anything could have compared to finally feeling your lips against mine. I know I'm the more talkative of the two of us, and yet my mind can find no words to describe it. Yes, that might work. Kiss me again. Let's see if I can find any words to borrow from your tongue. It appears that I still find my mind devoid of any words besides three. I love you. It may be so, and yet you love me anyway. By the gods, you are the only heaven I should ever need. So long as I have you, I should need nothing more. You are everything I could ever want. Tease me as you might, that smile on your lips says that you agree. I just realized that now we really are going to have to announce this to our courts, won't we? Imagine what an uproar we will cause. But not tonight. It would be bad form to announce our relationship at a royal wedding. Tonight in that castle is their night. However, out here, tonight, it is just you and I. You and I. As it always should be. As it always will be. Then kiss me again. The night is short, and I plan to spend every second of it with you, and only you. Kiss me again, love. I swear that I will never tire of this, my love. I will love you until death and then beyond.